Every person we communicate with leaves an invisible trace in our minds. They can either support us or become a source of negativity and stress. Think about it. How often do we absorb the mindset of the people around us? Like builders of our inner world, they shape our beliefs, influence decisions, and even determine our success. I want to tell you that some of these people can be toxic to your inner peace. I am ready to reveal 7 types of toxic personalities that are worth avoiding. I assure you that at least a few types of such people will be in your social circle. The most unexpected thing is that a person, being in a toxic environment, can become a source of negativity themselves. Are you ready to look at yourself and your relationships from a new perspective? Type of people number 1, skeptics and pessimists. We've all encountered those individuals in life who are always ready to find a cloud in a clear sky or notice a black spot on a bright canvas. Skeptics and pessimists, being part of our environment, can influence our perception of the world and even impact our mood. Let's say you have a friend named Max. When you share your future plans or a new project with him, Max always expresses doubts and emphasizes potential risks. For instance, if you tell him about your desire to change careers, Max might say, "It's quite risky in our unstable times. It's a bad and dangerous idea." Even when you have a clear plan and passionate determination, Max, as a skeptic and pessimist, always gives priority to potential difficulties. He can find many reasons why this idea won't work. There are situations when a skeptic or pessimist is not just an acquaintance you might not encounter every day, but, for example, your work colleague or a family member. Pessimists and skeptics are always indecisive and can infect you with this quality. The great Seneca once said, "While we waste time because of fluctuations and delays, life escapes." To avoid wasting time and life, effective methods for dealing with such personalities are necessary, especially when their opinion can influence your decisions and emotional state. Use the method called additional perspectives. When discussing your idea, suggest to the skeptic to consider the situation from different points of view. Ask them to imagine how the positive results of the idea could look. This method helps to consider the situation from multiple angles and allows the skeptic to see that perhaps not everything is so bad. The risk and decision map method may also help you. Propose to create a risk and decision map together with the skeptic. Together, identify potential problems and develop strategies to solve them. This method helps to focus on constructive steps and shows that you are seriously addressing potential difficulties. Both of these methods aim to involve the skeptic in the problem-solving process and create positive interaction. This can also help overcome negative attitudes and make the discussion more productive. Type of people number 2, positive fanatics. They are like a ray of sunshine in your life, always smiling, and their enthusiasm seems boundless. Often these individuals actively use trendy, esoteric terms talking about vibrations, energy, and referring to various spiritual concepts. Such people blindly believe and transmit ideas that they haven't fully grasped. But let's take a closer look. Can there be too much positivity? And what if this positivity is unfounded, imposed, and even harmful? Unlike skeptics and pessimists, positive fanatics aim to see only the bright side of things, but this doesn't always align with reality. Sometimes their unfounded optimism can turn out to be destructive. Imagine a situation where we have a colleague named Alice who is a positive fanatic. In the office, she always smiles joyfully, talks about happiness and success, but sometimes her optimism starts to have a destructive influence. Alice is working on a project that, in her opinion, will be absolutely fantastic and unquestionably successful. She ignores colleagues' suggestions for constructive changes and improvements, stating that everything will be fine as it is. Her unfounded positivity creates the illusion that the project is in perfect shape, despite specific problems. As a result, the team begins to feel pressure because Alice's baseless optimism leads to the neglect of real issues. The project encounters difficulties that could have been avoided with a more realistic and open discussion. In this case, positive fanaticism becomes an obstacle to productive collaboration and solving real problems. How do we deal with this waterfall of positivity that can be just as toxic? Establish your boundaries and comfortable limits for discussing positive topics. Politely but clearly, let the positive fanatic know that you value realism and would like to maintain a balance between optimism and reality. Emphasize the importance of a realistic assessment of the situation and consider risks along with the positivity. Support a dialogue where critical thinking is allowed and various perspectives are discussed. Ask questions that can help the positive fanatic consider the situation more objectively. Pose questions directed at understanding the depth of their understanding. Discuss your feelings and impressions with those around you to create a more realistic picture of what is happening. Strive to understand real challenges and opportunities. Type of people number 3, the victim. The personality type known as the victim represents a unique dynamic in interpersonal relationships. Victims often tend to perceive themselves as helpless. They constantly find themselves in negative situations and believe that unfair blows of fate are always directed at them. They may avoid taking responsibility for their lives, blaming external circumstances. Victims actively seek attention and sympathy from those around them. Let's imagine a person named Michael. He constantly talks about how his life is full of difficulties and how everything is against him. At work, he often complains that his colleagues don't appreciate his efforts. In his personal life, he claims to constantly face injustice and betrayal. Michael often seeks sympathy but rejects suggestions on how to change the situation. The great Stoic Marcus Aurelius once said, "For a happy life, very little is needed. It's all in the individual and his way of thinking." Aurelius's quote reminds us of the importance of the internal world of a person and their ability to influence their own happiness, even in challenging conditions. Unfortunately, people with a victim mentality always look for scapegoats and are unwilling to change anything in their lives. If there's no possibility to avoid interaction with a victim, here are a few pieces of advice. You can be empathetic and compassionate, but avoid getting drawn into their victim playing. Encourage their personal responsibility and independent actions. Help them see their strength and ability to change. Set boundaries in your relationship with the victim to avoid the influence of their negativity on your emotional state. While listening to their complaints, you can ask pointed questions such as, "What steps could you take to change this situation? What resources do you have to cope with this difficulty? What alternative approaches to solving the problem do you see? How would you evaluate your own role in this situation? What advice would you give to a friend in a similar situation? What small steps can you take now to improve the situation?" These questions can help stimulate reflection and initiate the self-help process. By applying such methods in communication with a victim, you can help them change. Another possible effect is that this person may lose interest in communicating with you if they are not ready to take constructive steps. Type of people number 4, manipulators and intriguers. Manipulators and intriguers are individuals who use deception, tricks, and tactical games to achieve their goals at the expense of others, often irresponsibly. Manipulators and intriguers can cause serious harm in both personal and professional relationships. The harm is usually associated with the destruction of trust, loss of reputation, creation of conflicts, waste of time and resources, as well as emotional consequences, such as stress, anxiety, and depression. People of this type possess the following characteristics. They can be extremely charming and know how to flatter to get what they want. Manipulators and intriguers often conceal their true intentions, creating the illusion of support or sympathy. They know how to use information about others to achieve their goals, sometimes creating complex intrigues. Individuals of this type can change their views and behavior, depending on the situation to achieve the desired result. They may actively stimulate conflicts between others to distance them from each other. I offer you some advice on interacting with such people. Be vigilant and learn to recognize signs of manipulation, such as a lack of straightforwardness in communication and excessive charm. Set clear boundaries in communication and do not allow personal space violations. If you notice manipulation, Approach the interaction with caution and verify the information provided to you. Be attentive to your own emotions and reactions to manipulative tactics. Strive for direct and open communication, avoiding complex tricks and ambiguities. Avoid participating in manipulative games and do not allow yourself to become part of their strategy. Preserve your strength and independence. Type of people number 5, time consumers. These are individuals who systematically take away the time of those around them, often idling away, complaining, or engaging in endless conversations. They can initiate endless and meaningless talks, consuming the time of those around them. Time consumers are often prone to constant complaints and negative conversations. They may be chronic idlers, taking up the time of others without contributing to overall productivity. Time consumers can procrastinate on tasks, creating an illusion of busyness without achieving results. They may ignore important tasks, preferring meaningless activities. To protect yourself from time consumers, you can apply the following recommendations. Define your boundaries and learn to say no when time consumers try to distract you. Be direct and honest in communication. If you notice that you're losing time, speak up about it. Develop time management skills to effectively allocate your resources. Redirect conversations to constructive topics and goals to avoid meaningless chats. Prioritize tasks and teach time consumers to appreciate the importance of tasks over endless conversations. Type of people number 6, toxic narcissist. This is an individual whose behavior is characterized by excessive self-admiration, a desire for dominance, a lack of empathy, and a readiness to use others for personal gain. This personality type constantly seeks admiration and subjugation of those around them, diminishing others to strengthen their own image. It's challenging for them to put themselves in others' shoes and understand their feelings. The narcissist reacts to criticism with offense and aggression, rejecting the possibility of their own shortcomings. They view themselves as unique and special, standing out from the crowd. Interacting with a toxic narcissist, especially in close relationships, can lead to constant emotional depletion. The toxic narcissist may seek to suppress the individuality and self-expression of another person, making them feel less significant. This can result in a loss of one's own identity and a decrease in self-esteem. The toxic narcissist may use manipulation and control to subordinate another person to their interests. They can exert psychological pressure on another person by imposing their views, standards, and expectations. Getting rid of a toxic narcissist can be challenging but possible. Here are a few steps that may help you deal with this situation. Acknowledge and value your own needs and emotions. Don't fully submit to others' expectations if it contradicts your values and well-being. Remember that the behavior of a toxic narcissist is not your fault. They are responsible for their actions. Don't let them shift their problems onto you. Be firm in defending your interests and beliefs. Resist manipulation and attempts at control. Examine why you stay in a relationship with a toxic narcissist. Sometimes it's crucial to understand your own behavioral patterns to make a conscious choice about the future. If the situation becomes unbearable and your well-being is genuinely at risk, consider ending the relationship with the toxic narcissist. Sometimes, breaking ties is necessary for your health and well-being. Interacting with a toxic narcissist requires caution and strategy to minimize the negative impact on yourself and those around you. Type of people number 7, panic mongers. Panic mongers are individuals prone to excessive worry, anxiety, and distress in response to various events or potential threats. They often exaggerate risks and may be inclined to sudden and unfounded panic reactions. Panic mongers frequently experience anxiety even over minor events and may perceive potential threats in them. Their thinking is often oriented towards anticipating negative outcomes, even when the risks are absent. Panic mongers may struggle to adapt to changes as they evoke anxiety and fear. Their panic reactions can create an atmosphere of fear and apprehension in a group or relationships. Their constant anxiety may consume excessive emotional and physical resources, leading to exhaustion. Excessive anxiety can hinder the ability to make thoughtful and rational decisions. Panic mongers can infect those around them with their anxiety and fear. To maintain your own composure and resist their influence, it's crucial to resort to firm and effective methods. Stay resilient. Don't get caught up in the rhythm of their panic. Maintain objectivity, avoiding being contaminated by their anxieties. Reevaluate situations from a positive perspective, helping them and yourself see not only the dark sides, but also bright prospects. Don't be afraid to say no to endless streams of worry and unrestrained anxieties, protecting your emotional space. Rationally assess the risks of the situation, helping panic mongers distinguish between imaginary and real threats. And remember, your well-being is important too. Don't take responsibility for others' emotions. Always preserve your inner balance. We have delved into the diverse world of interpersonal interactions, encountering 7 types of people who can influence us in various ways. Each of them presents a unique challenge. Resisting the toxic impact of these personalities can be a challenging task. This is where Stoic practices come to the rescue, allowing us to manage our emotions, reflect on our reactions, and approach others with a thoughtful mindset. Self-control and self-analysis are key tools in building a strong defense against toxicity. For example, Marcus Aurelius provided crucial advice. When the equilibrium of the spirit is disturbed by circumstances, restore self-control as quickly as possible, and do not remain in a depressed mood for too long, otherwise nothing will be able to help you. The habit of restoring harmony will perfect you. Recalling the wisdom of Epictetus, who said, "We have no power over external things, but we always have power over ourselves." This truth helps us realize that although we cannot change others, we can always change our attitude toward the surroundings. So, friends, face toxic personalities with the wisdom of the Stoics. Strive for harmony within yourself and remember that you have the power to choose your path in the world of interpersonal interactions. After all, your inner world is your fortress. If you enjoyed this video, support it with a like and a comment. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to not miss new inspiring videos. Wishing you success, and see you soon.